What's going on, everyone? I hope you're very well. I hope you're having a very nice day. Today we have a very interesting video, very cool little update, and I think a nice interesting build. So over here we can see the update for my micro mini pond that we saw a couple of months ago. You can see the update for this, and it's completely different. Remember that last time we used a couple of Eliocaris, a couple of Sagittarius. We can see Bucephalandra over here. You can see that's a little leaf of a Bucephalandra. But this is the main thing that started to develop naturally. I didn't plant any of this. You can see that a couple of ferns, most likely spores contained within the moss, started to sprout, started to germinate in the little moss mountain that we have over here. I also planted the little Bucephalandra that we can see thriving over here, and the light is not very, we could say, not the best, but we can see that the moss is also thriving. It's dark green, it's alive, and the aquatic plants, we use this hydrocotyle. It's now out of the pot. It's flowering over here, so we can see that this is an absolute success. Yeah, let's do a little turn so we can see the back and the moss that's been growing here as well. Look, nice and green. A little bacopa over here. So I think this was an absolute success. I really like this. A little rotala over here that's now growing immersed. You know, these little ferns, you might see in one of my previous videos that where I collect moss, you can see these growing naturally over there. So I'm not sure if it grew because the little spores were in the air, were airborne, or they came with the little moss. But anyway, this was super cool. A lot of Sagittaria over here. The only thing that I have to do, literally, is just top it off with water, and that's pretty much it. Let me pause the video because the ice cream truck is coming, so I'll see you in a bit. And we're back. So yeah, like I said, this was a very big success, and so I'm gonna do the same thing. Well, not the same thing, kind of like a similar thing with a bigger container, different shape. I think this is gonna be a bit better now, because you can see that even though it's bigger, the mouth of this container, it's smaller than the wider point in the circumference. So one of the things that I told you that I have to do every now and then is to top off the water, and that's because these, you know, they take a lot of water out of the whole thing. And so yeah, on Instagram, I follow this page. I think you can find it online. You can find it on Instagram as Botany Geek. Botany Geek. I think it's a gentleman from England, and he's got a terrific mini pond with a container that's not too different from this one. And that's one of the main inspirations that I have for this particular build. So you know, we're going to do the usual. The bottom is going to be filled with gardening soil. I have it over here. Just your regular gardening soil, no fertilizers added, no organic matter, and we're going to top it off. We're going to cover that with a layer of, you know, aquarium gravel, or in this case aquarium sand. And then we're going to do the planting. This is going to be almost completely filled. And one of the things from this build that I just mentioned, Botany Geek, is that he has one of these, and he's actually got one micro, how can I call this? He's got a micro water lily. Yeah, a micro water lily in one of these things, and he actually got it to blossom. Yeah, so I think it's very difficult to get one of those where I live, but I got something similar. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to, you know, prepare the layers, the bottom layer, and then the aquarium gravel, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the plants. and I'll show you what I mean with, I think I can do something similar to what he did. Yeah, so let's go ahead and start with the two main layers, yeah? So we got the aquarium gravel, that's the second one, and the first one is the gardening soil. So here I go. Yeah. You'll see that he's got quite a bit of lumps and chunks. A couple of roots here and there. Nothing too big. Nothing too big or out of the ordinary. As you can see, it's just mainly black dirt. Yeah, so I'm going to break apart these chunks, most of them at least, and we're going to evenly distribute this. Yeah, so for example, this is a little rock. I can go ahead and discard that, and yeah, we continue doing this like so. Yeah, I think that's it. Another rock. There we go. Yeah. So I got this little tool over here that we can use to evenly distribute this. And that's going to give us an idea of how much roots we have, how much chunks we actually have. And we can go ahead and remove those. But like I said, it's not of the utmost importance. Yeah. So one of the things that I like to replicate from my previous build, the one that I just showed you, is a little rock emerging from the water, so that moss and, I don't know, little plants can grow. Yeah. So there's going to be definitely, I don't know, 80% of the build underwater. Maybe we can even add like a microfish, like a rice fish or something, so it can keep mosquito larvae at bay. But yeah, 80% underwater, and then a little rock, a little mountain emerging from the waters, where we can keep moss, ferns, and whatnot. Yeah. So that's the first layer. I'm going to continue with aquarium sand. And here I go. Yeah. You can see that it's a bit dusty, but since this will have absolutely no livestock for the first couple of weeks, it'd be absolutely no problem. So with my tool, I can just pour it in the middle there, and then just distribute it. Yeah, so here we go. Nice. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. I think that's okay, you know. Let's see. Maybe a little more in a couple of places. There we go. And we distribute it. Yeah. Like doing crepes. So there we have them. The two layers. The aquarium gravel and the nutrients underneath. So what do we have for plants? In my previous build, the one that you're going to see, I think in a couple of weeks actually, because of the editing and the progress shots, I used a couple of plants that I have in this container. I'm going to use some of them. For example, that Eliocaris that I have over there, you can see the pots, all dirty. Yeah, but some of the Eliocaris that I have over there, I'm definitely going to use. And I'm also going to use some of the plants that I have in my pond, you know, in my mini pond that I showed you before. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Let's see how it's doing. And we're also going to collect a couple. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. So this is what my little pond looks like at the moment. You can see that it's got some patches of algae here and there, but overall it's doing very, very well. The aquatic plants are thriving. Yeah, we got several different varieties. This one you've seen me talk about before. We've got a couple of red plants over here, the Water Lilies. With the sunlight, they've been doing great, and so you know, I think this is another very, very cool little project. It requires very little maintenance, and today this is going to be the main source of plants for my next build, the little tabletop aquarium. So I was talking about Botany Geek and how he's got that terrarium with a mini water lily growing on it. So I've got this one, you know. I was talking to the aquarium shop owner the other day, and he told me that locally these are known as little snowflakes. They reproduce really, really fast. In fact, you can see over here I have a couple of them, and these are the ones that I'm going to use in my build. So I'm going to place them here, yeah, along with some others that I'm going to use. I've also got some Iliocaris parvula. You can see that it's, you know, producing several little rhizomes over there. So I'm going to cut them, and I'm also going to use them in my build. Yeah. So I'm just going to come in and cut over here. We can easily take it out like so. Okay. So I think I'm going to add a couple of those little snowflakes. I think I'm also going to add some Rotala, you know, and the other one that I'm also going to use is the Sagittaria, which is the main plant that we have over here. Yeah, these little ones over here, very, very tiny leaves, are Bacopas, so I'm going to use a couple of those as well. Yeah, so I'm going to continue clipping some of these, and I'll see you back inside so we can continue the build. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so here we are. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to wet the little surface over here with a little bit of water, and then I'm going to add a lot more so that we can have a very good idea of what they're going to look like, the plants and the rocks, once we're finished. Yeah. So again, in my previous build, I used several of these stones that we have over here. Let me show you. And these are very cool, but some of them don't look very natural. You know, this one, for example, is super polished, so it's beautiful, but not so natural. So I'm gonna just lay a couple here and there, right? We've also got some lighter tones. Those will look very good. You know, like this, like that. And over here, we got these that are really cool. I'm actually going to put them a bit off center. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out what's the best surface area that we can have so that we can put our moss, put everything that we want over there. So this kind of looks interesting over here. Maybe a bit higher so that it's really immersed. Like so. And then another one over here. As usual, this could change in the future, it has changed in the future. But I think that in the meantime, this is what it's gonna look like. Yeah, kind of cool. So we get to planting, and we got the little plants over here, the ones that we just collected from my mini pond, and I'm gonna plant the Eliocharis parvula over here. Like I said, I took the whole rhizome, so what I can do is divide them in several little tufts that I can just plant in the soil like so. Yeah, so a couple over there. I divide it again like this. Couple over here. You know, I was using a different tool for this. That was really cool. Oh, I think it's over here. Yeah, this one. This one's better, at least for planning. And let's see, we got another one. Over here. Yeah. Over here. And another one over here. Yeah. I'm not sure about this over here, you know. It looks rather ugly. So I'm going to remove this stones that I have here. And I'm just going to use the stone on its own. Like so. Yeah. So let's continue. We got the mini lily pads, the little snowflakes over here. So that's the next plant that we're going to use. I want this to be very important in the veil too, so I'm going to put it here. I got another one, a very, very small one over here. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that one, see if it actually thrives or it just melts away. Sagittaria, subulata over here. I'm going to plant those around the edges, just because it propagates with rhizomes and is actually very, very vigorous. So I don't want to take away too much attention from the main belt. Over there. Rotala, the red variety. Another sprig of Rotala over here. Maybe we can go in the center. Because after all, the little mini water lily is gonna send out floating leaves, so it's not gonna take out too much attention from the Rotala. Hydrocotyl, I think I should water this a little bit more, so let me just add a little bit more water, especially around the plants that I already put in the soil. Like so. And another hydrocotyl over here. Yeah. Sagittaria. Oh, just to add a different touch, I got a different type of Eliocharis over here. It's actually Eliocharis montevidensis, that's the scientific name. We're gonna plant a couple of tufts here and there, so it looks like a little swamp, you know. It looks a bit wilted at the moment, but in no time this is gonna be really cool. Yeah. We've also got a couple of sprigs of Ludwigia atlantis. Those are also going to be here at the back. Let me see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's cover this up with water so that the plants can hydrate themselves. And then we'll continue with the last step, which is going to be the moss on the rocks, the little immersed mountains that we have over here. Yeah. So I'm going to pause the camera, fill this up, and I'll see you in a bit. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit of ghetto soil, which is basically gardening soil that's heavy on clay. I'm just going to add it over here at the very top of our little mountains here, because remember, these are the only places in the whole build that are going to be immersed, and that's where our moss is going to grow. Yeah, if you remember from our update for the day, that's what we could see where the moss actually grew. It's where the rocks were not in contact with the water, and we added that little paste so we could attach or plant our moss. I'm actually a bit low on moss at the moment, so I'm just going to seed a couple of patches here and there, you know. So that's going to be the last thing that I'm going to do before I fill this up completely. We'll call it a day. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and plant the moss. So we can see that there was a slight change of plans. I changed the composition of the rocks a little bit, and we can see that we now have more surface area for the moss. Yeah, so like I said, I'm very low on moss at the moment, so I'm just going to plant a couple of little tufts here and there. For example, this one over here, I actually took it from the first little pond that I showed you, the micro pond with the ferns and everything. And this is going to propagate very easily once it's settled in the little mud. Yeah. So let's see if I can get more little patches here and there. And I'm going to continue to do that. Okay. So micro planting of moss. Here we go. And let's see. A little bit more. Over here. Like I said, this is going to propagate very easily. So in a couple of weeks it's going to look like it's always been there, you know. Let's see. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't have that much more. Just a couple over here. And I've also got this little piece that came with an orchid that I bought from a national vendor. This is actually a little piece of driftwood. Well, not driftwood. What am I talking about? It's a little piece of bark. You know how they're used for substrate for orchids? So I'm just gonna stick it on there. Yeah. Okay, so let's fill this up and then we'll call it a day. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so here we are. It's completely full now. We can see that the water level is just touching the mud over there. And next couple of weeks, the level will be established more clearly, and we'll have absolutely no runoff of soil into the water. Yeah, so we can see the plants that we put there in the substrate over here, the rotala, the mini water lily, the Iliocaris parbula. Over here we got the Ludwigia, yeah, and the moss. Over here, well, we have the two. We can see that one of them is mature, already established, and I can confidently say that in a couple of weeks this will look very similar to this one, if not better. Yeah, so I think it's a very, very cool little project that you can try at home. The wall sort method, it's really, really interesting. In the future, I intend also to try different alternatives, you know, like the professional ADA soil, or the, you know, aqua garden, or, you know, that professional soil that they use for planted tanks, just to see how it works with these very, very low-tech builds. Yeah, so I'll keep you posted. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked it. If you have any comments, doubts, questions, anything, drop them down below. Subscribe to my bonsai channel too, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye. So we can see that there was a slight change of plans. I changed the composition of the rocks a little bit, and we can see that we now have more surface area for the moss. Yeah, so like I said, I'm very low on moss at the moment, so I'm just going to plant a couple of little tufts here and there. For example, this one over here, I actually took it from the first little pond that I showed you, the micro pond with the ferns and everything. And this is going to propagate very, very easily once it's settled in the little mud. Yeah. So let's see if I can get more little patches here and there. And I'm going to continue to do that. Okay. So micro planting of moss. There we go. And let's see. A little bit more. Over here. Like I said, this is going to propagate very easily. So in a couple of weeks it's going to look like it's always been there, you know. Let's see. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't have that much more. Just a couple over here. And I've also got this little piece that came with an orchid that I bought from a national vendor. This is actually a little piece of driftwood. Well, not driftwood. What am I talking about? It's a little piece of bark. You know how they're used for substrate for orchids? So I'm just gonna stick it on there. Yeah. Okay. So let's fill this up and then we'll call it a day. Okay. See you in a bit. Okay. So here we are. It's completely full now. We can see that the water level is just touching the mud over there. And next couple of weeks, the level will be established more clearly, and we'll have absolutely no runoff of soil into the water. Yeah, so we can see the plants that we put there in the substrate over here, the rotala, the mini water lily, the Iliocaris parbula. Over here we got the Ludwigia, yeah, and the moss. Over here, well, we have the two. we can see that one of them is mature, already established, and I can confidently say that in a couple of weeks this will look very similar to this one, if not better. Yeah, so I think it's a very, very cool little project that you can try at home. The wall sort method, it's really, really interesting. In the future, I intend also to try different alternatives, you know, like the professional ADA soil, or the, you know, aqua garden, or, you know, that professional soil that they use for planted tanks, just to see how it works with these very, very low-tech builds. Yeah, so I'll keep you posted. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked it. If you have any comments, doubts, questions, anything, drop them down below. Subscribe to my bonsai channel too, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.